Hi guys, it is week 3 of Gospel Project, and we are talking all about the fall of man, or when sin entered the world, this week. So heavy topic, but really interesting for kids to understand how God really did create us in perfection, and He created this world perfect, but He also gave us free will. So we're going to look at what that means for kids, and how we can choose to follow God despite our sin nature. So for everyone, for the pre-large group time, you have 2 different activities. The first one is you'll have a magnifying glass. You'll have bigger ones than this, but this is the one I have right now. And you're going to take turns looking at things and their face, and kind of talking about, laughing about, being silly with all the different things that we can look at with the magnifying glass. And the whole connection point to that is how we are made in God's image, but sin distorts us from truly being like God. So while we were created in His image, sin has changed that. So that's the first one. The second one is a target game. So you'll have a target that looks similar to this, and then some bean bags. And the idea is to have kids take turns tossing the bean bag onto the target, but having them stand far enough away where that can become a little bit of a challenge. You can do it backwards. You can do it from sitting on the ground. Change it up a lot. I think they'll really like this activity. It will be busy and chaotic a little bit, but with a purpose during this activity. And the whole point of this activity is to talk about, at the very end, before large group begins, make sure you get the connection in there, is that did your team miss the target? Did you miss the target at all when you were trying to hit it? And that the actual definition of sin means missing the target. So God designed us to be perfect. We have the capability, but yet we sin, so we miss that target of perfection. So tie that all in together. All of that is for pre-large group. I think they'll enjoy both of those activities, so I hope and pray that you'll have great success with those. For the second large group time, or the post large group time, for first grade, you are going to have a Chutes and Ladders style game. And you'll have one of these for every 2 to 3 kids. And so you'll have some game pieces, you'll have some dice, and you'll have some different pieces that they can choose to be. And they're literally going to play this game. Roll the dice. If they get 4, they get to climb up this ladder. And you're just talking about how when we climb up the ladder, that's like when we're successful, when we're not sinning, when we're following what God has for us. And then the snakes are the sliding down, and just talking about how when we choose to sin, it does set us back, but it doesn't knock us completely out of the game. We still have the opportunity to move forward, but we just have to make sure that we're making the right choices. So I think they'll have fun with this. If you want to end with this, I think this might be a good activity to end your time with. And the first part of it, there's also a discussion time for your group. And I think it's super important, even though I know it's hard with first graders, but to have these discussions, look in God's Word. So make sure that you really look at this lesson and are prepared for those conversations. As far as second and third grade goes, okay, you're going to each have a remote control car. This is just a sample, just to trigger your brain to remember that you're going to have a car. You actually have a remote control car. Hopefully they're decent, but they were really inexpensive. So they are coming tomorrow. But the whole concept of the remote control car is that you're going to allow each and every kid to use it when you first get back into your large group time. It might be a little crazy, a little busy. Take your group into the hallway. Like we've been taking the second grade boys into the hallway. I think that's a great setup. So if somebody else wants to do that also. But let them drive the car around for a couple minutes. And then you're going to head into your discussion time, which is just a little bit different than the first grade. So make sure you're reading the appropriate one, because the green one is just designed for younger children, first grade and younger. And then these questions are same topic, but just designed a little bit differently for second and third grade and older questions. So have the questions with your group, have the conversations, have them open God's Word. Go get the Bibles off the Bible cart, look up the verse, read it together. Look in Genesis 3, all about the fall, and then make the connection at the very end with the remote control cars. Could your car do anything without you controlling it? Absolutely not. We are in complete control of a remote control car. And talk about how God is not like that. God does not control us. We are not robots. We have free will. And so with free will comes responsibilities and comes consequences. And so tie that all back together into the fact that God created us, and he created us again to be perfect, but with free will. And so just like the remote control car, we are not controlled like that. And that is what brought sin into the world. But if without free will, it wouldn't matter. Our salvation, our redemption story wouldn't be what it is, because we would just all be robots worshiping God. So this is why we can live the abundant life that God promises us. All right. I hope you get a few minutes to dive into this lesson a little bit more, and really just the understanding of what the fall represented and how God's redemptive story is portrayed in that. Have a great week, and I will see you soon.